Hello, this is the Shadow Ranger. This is going to be my predictions for Destination X 2011. This is going to be TNA's All X Division pay-per-view. It's like 11:30 at night right now, and I don't feel like editing a video, so I might make this one short. I don't know yet, but let's go through the matches we have. Alright, open challenge for Douglas Williams. Makes sense since he held the X Division title for most of last year. A lot of people are thinking that they might bring back someone from the past. You know, there's a lot of possibilities. X Division guy out of the past. If they bring back somebody from the past, I'd like to see Petey Williams. I think that would be really fun. I think fans would like to see the Canadian Destroyer one more time. I could see that happening. Someone else, I think, I think it may be more likely is someone a little unexpected. You don't really think of them when you think X Division, but this person was a former X Division champion, although it was a very short and kind of forgettable title reign. But I can see the challenge being answered by Kurt Angle. Most people forget that Kurt Angle was ever X Division champion when he won the belt from Joe in the winner take all match back in Hard Justice 07. And you know, he ended up having, like, a month later, had that really good match with Jay Lethal where he lost the belt to Jay Lethal. But I could see that happening too. So I would say if it's, I really think it's going to be Kurt Angle, and if so, Kurt Angle's going to win. But if it's someone from the past, Douglas Williams will win. We got the four-way match for the TNA contract: Austin Aries versus Low Ki versus Jack Evans versus Zema Eon. I'd like to see all four of these guys stick around. I don't know how they're going to go about doing it, but I'd like to see them all stick around. I like Zema Eon. I like his look a lot more. Jack Evans, what's hurts Jack Evans that he looks so plain. He doesn't have a really marketable look, but his moves are stuff that X Division fans will love. He does a lot of high flying moves. The guy has great agility, so you know you can see him sticking around. Zema Eon is great, but he also has a really good look. Like, he has a look that you can market it. He has personality. He really showed charisma in his match. Low Ki and Austin Aries, you know, veterans. They've been in TNA in the past. A lot of people like them. So, you know, with Low Ki, he's coming off of exposure from NXT, and his time in WWE has gotten more exposure. Austin Aries was there in the past. You know, I've been watching Austin Aries the past couple months on NWA Hollywood. You know, wasn't one of my favorite guys, but I liked him anyway. Honestly, I could see somehow. I think all four of these guys are going to end up getting shots in TNA. But as for the winner of the match, just because I like him more than anybody else, I'm gonna pick Zema Eon. Number one contenders, Ultimate X match. Winner will get an X Division title shot. We have Alex Shelley, Shannon Moore, Robbie E, and Amazing Red. Can't do an X Division pay-per-view without an Ultimate X match. It's good to see Shannon Moore and Alex Shelley. It makes sense since both of their partners are injured, and really both guys need something to do until their partners are back. Shelley's got to go solo to next year, and I think Jesse Neal will be back in like a month or two. So Shannon Moore's got to go solo for a little while Jesse Neal heals up. So letting him wrestle in the X Division, it just seems to work. Hadn't seen Amazing Red in a while, but he's always fun to watch. You know, my favorite guy here is Robbie E. That's who I like the most, and that's why I'm picking him. Just because I like him more than everybody else, I'm picking Robbie E. to win this match. That's who I want to win. X Division Championship, Brian Kendrick versus Abyss. If ever there was a time to take the belt off Abyss, this is it. I'm gonna say right now, if Abyss retains, he'll keep that belt till Bound for Glory. I can't see him losing that belt any other time. He either loses it on Destination X just to cap off Brian Kendrick, sort of the savior of the X Division type thing, or Bound for Glory. I think he'll lose it now to Brian Kendrick. I like Kendrick. I like his character. I think you could really get into some interesting matches with him, with his persona, because his persona is so weird that you can really work it. It'll work with pretty much anybody. And I think Brian Kendrick. I don't think Brian Kendrick's ever held a major singles title, so this could be his first one, and I think he could do some good stuff with the X Division title. So just because it's Destination X and the theme of the pay-per-view, I'm picking Brian Kendrick to defeat Abyss for the X Division title. But I'm also going to say if Abyss retains the title here, he's keeping that belt till Bound for Glory. Samoa Joe versus Kazarian. It's been a long time since these dudes had a one-on-one match. I think the last time they had a one-on-one match that I remember is when Joe was world champion. That was 2008. So Joe and Kazarian, that'll be fun. Joe has been on kind of a losing streak. He lost to Devon on Impact. He lost to Crimson at Slammiversary. I think I'm picking Joe just because I think Joe needs to win more. Yeah, that's it. Joe needs to win more. So that's why I'm picking him. Rob Van Dam versus Jerry Lynn, the two guys who they claim were X Division before there was an X Division. Alright, fine. It's a Rob Van Dam match, so I don't really care. Don't really care that much about Jerry Lynn either. I was never an ECW fan, so this match really doesn't have the nostalgia feeling to me that it does to everybody else. But if it's fun, it's fun. I'm going to pick Rob Van Dam for the simple reason of logic that next week Rob Van Dam will still be here and Jerry Lynn won't. So for that reason alone, RVD wins. And main event, Christopher Daniels versus AJ Styles. I like AJ more, so I'm picking him. This match could go either way. I can really see either of these guys winning. Considering the theme of this pay-per-view, none of what's happening on this show really affects storylines or anything. I mean, I'm personally looking, storyline wise, the next things that have to do with storylines will be next Thursday's Midsummer Nightmare episode of Impact. So it really doesn't matter who wins this match. It will just be a fun match between two good wrestlers. So just enjoy it. So AJ wins. If I do a follow-up video, it'll be short. Just probably talk about who wins the contract and who the number one contender is and who comes out with X Division champion. So, because most of what's happening on this show does not affect storylines. AJ and Daniels really doesn't affect the future storylines. RVD and Jerry Lynn really doesn't affect the future storylines. Mojo Kazarian really isn't. Really just the title match, the Ultimate X, and the contract match are going to matter after this pay-per-view is over. That's my guess. But if something else interesting happens, I'll come back and do a video of where we go from here. So, that being said, those are my picks for Destination X. One of the guys from Gen Me, I can't remember which one, tweeted that they were going to be on the pay-per-view. So, apparently Gen Me's supposed to be having a tag match against somebody. Let's see. I really can't think of who it would be, though. So, if that happens, we'll talk about that if it happens. So, with that being said, those are my thoughts on Destination X. This is the Shadow Ranger. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.